Well, it's fantastic to see all of you and to meet so many of you while I've been here. I want to thank David for a fantastic program. Where are you, David? This is really, you've really done a wonderful job in bringing together all of us here. And Jen has done a fantastic job in leading the Li-Fraumeni Syndrome Association, and also in building a bridge between the scientists who participate in the LIFE Consortium and the families and the patients that are an integral part of the LFSA. But talking to Debbie Soprano earlier, and she asked me what it was like in the early days. And Fred Li and I arrived at the National Cancer Institute back in the 1960s, when so little was known about the causes of cancer. We were commissioned officers in the Public Health Service and assigned to the National Cancer Institute, and in turn assigned to the epidemiology branch. And Fred had a passion for public health, and that was important. I had a passion for clinical medicine, and we were a very good team. And Fred was different than I was. He was complimentary. He was the most popular individual, I think, at the National Cancer Institute. Everybody loved him. And isn't that true, Louise? I mean, the scientists all wanted to work with him, and the patients loved him. Everybody liked him. So, and the scientists also wanted to work with him, not only because he was such a nice guy, a wonderful guy, but also because he was such a good scientist and a wonderful collaborator. So they were drawn to him in so many different ways. And I was lucky to be able to work with Fred. And we had a ball. I mean, it was an exciting time because nothing was known about the causes of cancer. Very little. Smoking was considered a risk factor by most people, not everybody. So the Surgeon General of the Public Health Service decided to form a committee that would review all the evidence, and there it was. But that was about the only definite risk factor for cancer at the time. Genetics was not in the mainstream, I can tell you that. And when we decided to look at childhood cancer, because nothing was being done about it, and we decided to look at cancer-prone families because so little was being done, we were considered outliers. And but that was good in a way, and for us, because there was no competition. But when we started reporting the families with this particular syndrome, which featured all these different cancers, and nobody had thought about the fact that there were multiple cancer syndromes. And it was always thought that cancer was occurred in a single tumor in families, like breast cancer, just breast cancer, or colon cancer. And that was about it. You know, it was a very slight familial tendency for these tumors. And so when we reported these unusual families, rare families, with the array of tumors that we were seeing, we really didn't know what to make of it. Fortunately, Louise Strong, my friend from Texas, was in medical school at the time, and she she was
Dating at this point.
she was developing mathematical models using childhood cancer as a prototype, and showing that there was a multi-hit process in cancer with genetics and environment both being important. And that was a big deal. She worked with a giant in cancer genetics, Al Knudsen, and that was an important series of studies. So, where's David? David was warming up in the bullpen at that time, and we hadn't yet met him. Fortunately, Fred met him up in Boston, and so finally it was possible to look at this P53 gene, which was found in cancer, in many different forms of cancer, and it was speculated maybe this particular gene was not only in the cancers, but was inherited. So this was a major breakthrough, I think, in cancer genetics. So, anyways, I want to thank, Jen Perry for a fantastic job in leading LFSA and helping to sponsor this conference. And it's been a very important development. Bringing the families and the scientists together is mutually beneficial, and it's inspiring to us as scientists and clinicians to have you here at these meetings. It's very important, and we really treasure the relationships that we've been able to forge. So anyways, Jen, thank you, and thank all of you that are affiliated with LFSA and with the scientific collaborations that we've been able to develop over time. Thank you.